Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another show. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, get involved in the chat. Today's show, people, we're going to be going through all the latest news. Lewis will be joining shortly, hopefully. And we've got an Everton fan jumping on at 1:30 to look ahead to the game. But there's quite a lot that's been going on over the last 24 hours or so. A lot of news of Dean Huijsen, links with Kenan Yildiz at Juventus. More Liam Delap news as well, with Newcastle feeling confident that they can sign the Ipswich striker, and Delap would be open to a move reportedly, especially if Newcastle have Champions League football, which it very much looks like they will. So even Liam Delap is looking a little bit tricky for Chelsea right now, you know. Man United firmly in there. Newcastle believe they're in there. And then there's us as well. And if European football is going to play a big part, we could be fucked. Because Newcastle are definitely going to be playing Champions League football. Almost certainly, I would say. Man United could somehow scumbag a Europa League and get into their Champions League. And realistically, the best we're going to be able to offer is Europa League through winning the Conference League. So again, we're going to have to rely on the London lifestyle. We're going to have to rely on our pitch. I don't know what we're telling these guys. I honestly have no idea what we're telling these guys to get them to sign, because there's no guarantees of Champions League football. There's no guarantees that we're pushing to challenge for major trophies. I don't know what we're telling them. I honestly don't know what we're telling them, and I don't know what's so attractive right now about what we've got going on at the club. Yeah, okay, you bag yourself a 6-7 year contract, but we don't even offer ridiculous wages. You know, you're basically signing on hope, really. We're signing on a hope that what's being put together is suddenly at some point going to come together. You know, whether that's in 2 years, 5 years, or however many years it is, you're signing on blind faith at the end of the day. You're signing on blind faith and the London lifestyle, because you're not really signing for footballing reasons, are you? Because right now, we're still a long way off competing at the top end of the table, and we're a long way off challenging for major trophies. So that's the interesting one. I don't get what we're telling them. I don't get what we're telling them. Yes, all good, all good. Thank you. Hope you're well. Yes, Philip, hope you're doing well, bro. Yeah, guys, run the likes up as always. Yep, he did, which is great. Yep, Caicedo is fine now for the remainder of the campaign. That is all good. No issues there. I mean, obviously, providing he doesn't get injured, but there's no suspension threat anymore for him. Which is a real bonus. I don't think they do. David Ornstein reported yesterday that, as far as he's aware, as things stand, Man United have no interest in Victor Osimhen, despite, you know, reports that have emanated mainly from Turkey. So, according to Ornstein, which that news was yesterday or the day before, Man United no interest in Osimhen. So we'll wait and see on that one. Do you think, in all honesty, we see Mudryk in a Chelsea shirt again? I would have to say no, which is a real shame, because I think he was improving this season. I still believe there's a lot of ability there. And funnily enough, we have actually missed him in terms of having that option from the bench and having that profile, just something a little bit different, that unpredictability, not knowing what you're going to get from him. So, yeah, I think we have missed him. No doubt about it. I think we absolutely have missed him. But I also would have to say that I would find it unlikely that we'll see him play for the club again. So there we are. But yeah, I mean, where do we begin, guys? Let's start with the Liam Delap stuff, because I think we could have a problem here potentially. You know, I think it's very clear. I mean, and chat, let me know your thoughts on this. What are we saying about Liam Delap? Guys in the chat, are you keen for Chelsea signing Delap? Do you think we should go for someone else, or do you think Chelsea need Delap and one more? But what's becoming increasingly clear here is that this perhaps wasn't the free run that maybe we expected it to be, or this is a far more fiercely contested race than we expected it to be. So yeah, I'm a little bit unsure. I'm a little bit unsure. Huijsen, Petrovic, Santos, Yildiz, and Gyökeres all for 135 mil would be a fantastic window. Well, Petrovic's not going to cost us any money, and neither is Santos. So we already own those. Huijsen would be 50 mil. Yildiz, I don't know what the price would be, but I think you do very well to get those three players for 135 mil. But I don't see us getting that, to be perfectly honest. Sure, but unfortunately, bro, the reality is that we're not shopping at that top table anymore, and especially if we can't offer Champions League football, then that's kind of it. And what I'm saying, guys, is that right now there's only really two strikers on the market who are going to move the needle and take Chelsea to where they need to be. That's Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyökeres. Chelsea had the opportunity to sign Osimhen last summer, refused to pay the wages. Why 12 months later would we suddenly decide that's we're going to pay the wages? That doesn't make sense to me. And then Ben Jacobs has reported that Osimhen is more than likely going to end up in Saudi Arabia. He's open to the Saudi move. So I just don't see us at the table. If Chelsea wanted Osimhen, we would have paid the money for him last summer. We would have paid the wages. The boat's gone now for me. The boat's gone now. How excited are you with Garnacho and Huijsen links? Huijsen, I don't mind as long as someone else comes in alongside him. Garnacho, just no. Just no. But look, with Delap, Delap's obviously, look, I like Delap. I think there's a quality player there. But at the same time, he'll improve Chelsea. He'll make Chelsea better. He'll make the squad better. Does he make the starting 11 better? Maybe he makes the starting 11 a little bit better. But the reality is, people, it's not really moving the needle, is it? It's not really moving the needle that much. But at the same time, Chelsea have made it very clear that Delap is arguably a top target, and we've publicly made that clear. We want him. Maresca's praised him multiple times in the press this season. It would be highly embarrassing, given Maresca's coached him before, given Joe Shields brought him to the Man City Academy, given the links we have with Delap at the club currently, if we were to miss out on him. It wouldn't be a good look. It really wouldn't be a good look. I wouldn't say it would be damaging as such, but it would be quite embarrassing. We have to be honest here, guys. It would be quite embarrassing if we were to miss out on Delap. But I'd look at it, and I'd look at Newcastle, and look at, again, it depends what Delap wants, but it's been reported that Delap is going to make his decision at the end of the season, and European or Champions League football is going to be a big factor in his decision. Now, if Man United don't win the Europa League, we can rule them out. However, pretty much almost every Premier League club in the top half of the table is probably looking at Liam Delap. With £30 million, Ipswich are going to get relegated. The wages aren't ridiculous. We know that Arsenal won't. We know that Liverpool could well look at Liam Delap. Man City won't. Other than maybe Arsenal and Man City, all the other top clubs in the Premier League are going to be looking at Liam Delap. Because for the money the deal's going to cost, it's a good signing. It's a good signing. and you need good options and good squad depth, and Delap would give you that. But Chelsea need more than just good squad depth. We need someone to come in and start. So I've just got I don't know. I've just got maybe a bit of a funny feeling that we could miss out on him. And you're then looking at maybe a Benjamin Sesko or a Hugo Ekitike. How good is that? Maybe you go and get Jamie Vardy on a free transfer because Vardy's leaving Leicester at the end of the season. Maybe you go and get Jamie Vardy on a free transfer, guys. In chat, what we saying? 38-year-old Jamie Vardy on a free transfer, an option from the bench. Maybe we go for that. I mean, I don't know, but the striker situation is an interesting one. But I would look at it. I have to be honest. If Newcastle get Champions League football, which it's almost, nah, bro, he's not retired. He hasn't retired. He's going to continue playing. Vardy's not retired. He's just announced that he's leaving Leicester at the end of the season. He's not retired. So there we go. He absolutely hasn't retired. You hit the nail on the head. Delap does not take us to another level. Yeah, but bro, this is the problem. Osimhen and Gyökeres are the only strikers on the market that will take Chelsea to another level. You know, but Osimhen is more than likely going to go to Saudi Arabia. We missed the boat on Osimhen, and Gyökeres is probably going to prefer a move to an Arsenal or a Liverpool, or maybe even to Barcelona as a replacement for Robert Lewandowski. You know, and unfortunately, the only way we're going to get ourselves into any conversation, you know, into any conversation for Gyökeres is we have to finish in the top 5. Sure, but he can still finish. He can still finish, and he's still got that box presence. By the way, I was sort of kind of joking, like tongue in cheek, about bringing him in, but you know, he would make a decent signing for a mid to lower half Premier League team. Well, I mean, it's hard to argue against that when you see the business that's being done. It is hard to argue against that. I can't lie. It is difficult to argue against that. But right now, Newcastle, for me, unless you literally want to live in London, basically, Newcastle from a footballing perspective is a lot more attractive. You know, Delap and Isak as options, Champions League football. You've just won trophies. You know, Newcastle, I think, are going to be in for a serious summer, spending serious cash. And they could be a side that are ready to establish themselves as a regular Champions League team and regularly win trophies. That's going to be very attractive. Very, very attractive for Liam Delap. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yes, bro, how are we doing?
So yeah, sorry for the lateness.
No,
My
bro,
bad.
it's all good. It's all good. No problem at all. Yeah, bro, just quickly touching on the striker situation and that. I'm just saying, mate, the more that I think about it, the more I think there's potential we could miss out on Delap. I mean, how are you seeing it? Because when you see things like Newcastle think they're in the race and whatnot, they're going to be able to offer Champions League football. If Man United somehow scumbag that Europa League trophy, they're probably both going to be ahead of us in the race. It's clear that whether we like it or not, Delap is probably our top striker target. Do you think there's a chance we miss out?
Maybe, because I think like 10, 15 different clubs have inquired about him. It's all going to come down to who offers him the better wage package, which I'll be so real. Other teams could try and outprice us for, because like that could be their big summer signing. For me though, like if it ain't Osimhen, I'm just a bit indifferent. Even though I know we need the striker profile, my dream one is to go and get Osimhen because he's an aerial threat. He's proven in multiple leagues. He's a league winner. He's got good goals to games. My only worry with him is his injury record. And if it ain't him, there's just a lot of questions regarding whoever else we bring in. So it's like,
do you not think with Osimhen though, like we missed our chance because why we wouldn't pay his wages last summer, so why 12 months later would we suddenly decide, oh, do you know what, let's pay those wages? That doesn't make sense to me. And admittedly, we've done stranger things than that before. It wouldn't come as a total surprise, but it would be a little bit embarrassing. But I don't know. I just feel like we've kind of. I mean, Osimhen still gets mentioned in terms of being on a shortlist and whatnot. But
Mikel said he still wants to join us.
Yeah, Mikel's almost like his personal spokesperson, isn't it? He's almost he's I don't know if he's on commission
But
for
that
this.
says to me that they talk.
Yeah, no, they definitely talk.
But this is the thing. Because of that, right? Yeah, but because of that, right? Just suck up the pride a little bit, because for me it's like either we don't get top 5 and none of these players can chat if Osimhen joins and he's just broken the wage structure, or we get him and he's the difference between another top 4 race and a title race. So again, like if it ain't Palmer, Caicedo, and I use Palmer very loosely with the form that he's had this year, so maybe not even him, maybe Caicedo, Cucurella, and no one else can chat. If we're being honest, no one else can talk because they haven't been that level of key. Maybe Enzo, maybe Palmer, if you really want to push it. If you really want to push it, throw them into the list. And then no one can talk.
Yeah.
No one can talk. So just give him his money and stop wasting our time, because we're going to be in the same position next year. I can't be fucked anymore. Can't be bothered for it.
But the problem is, though, bro, is that if we can't offer Champions League football, we're highly unlikely to get to the table for the conversations for him.
We just have a lot less that we can spend on, innit? But here's my thing. If we just put the entire transfer budget into getting Victor Osimhen at Chelsea, I will be content. I won't be happy, but I'll be content with not spending another penny. I'll be fine with it. Like Mamadou Sarr coming back, whatever, we'll work with that with the back line. Petrovic goes in goal for us. We've got Esugo and Santos coming in. We've got Esteval coming in. We'll figure it out with everything else. Get me my striker.
I mean,
get me my fucking striker.
Yeah, because it's not even the transfer fee of Osimhen, because there's a release clause in there, and I think it's like £65 million. So it's not even the transfer fee. And transfer fees have never really been an issue under this ownership. It's always been the salary and the wages what's been the problem. And you keep hearing things. Oh, you know, we would have looked at Van Dijk if he didn't sign a new contract and stuff. And I just sort of like, until I actually see it, it's almost like they're just saying it to kind of, because they want fans and stuff to believe.
A long shot.
They want us to believe that, do you know what, if the deal's right, we will go and sign someone, you know.
Yeah, aka if it's a freebie.
Yeah, if it's a freebie, exactly. But like, until I actually see it happen, that's just all chat to try and please people, because they can say all they want. Oh, we looked at him, we looked at him, we looked at him. Until you actually see someone come through the door that's of experience and quality that we need, then until that point, it's just kind of all chat and doesn't really mean anything. But really, though, bro, like, to be honest, there's 2 strikers on the market this summer that take Chelsea to the next level, and it's Osimhen and Gyökeres. Those are the only 2 that are available, and that take.
Oh shit, Vardy's leaving Leicester.
Yeah, would you take him on a free?
How long before someone looks at him?
Would you take him on a free?
Oh hell no.
No.
Oh no.
Could you imagine that? Yeah, I mean, yeah. So people will look at him, but yeah, those are the only 2 that take us to the next level: is Gyökeres or Osimhen. And I'll be so real. I don't know if we can even get either of them. And then you're shopping at the next table down. I mean, out of Delap or Sesko, who would you prefer?
Delap or Sesko?
Yeah.
I don't know. One just see Sesko, it feels like everyone wants to just like avoid him with a barge pole. And it's like, look, I like, he seems physical. He seems like he's good in the air. But anytime I look at him, he's missing chances. I looked at his last 40 shots and I nearly vomited. Like Delap looks like everyone's, how everyone has like their favorite player outside the big six and they just love him. But I don't know if he'd translate to one of our clubs because I ain't seen him against a low block.
Yeah.
Now, I spoke to Rance and he said he rates his ability in tight space and he thinks that can make a difference, but I just haven't seen enough of it. But both of them come with a lot of cons. Oshiman's the only one where I'm thinking, okay, this guy can break down a low block. This guy's an aerial threat. This guy is a finisher. He's everything that I want in a striker. Delap and Sesko, I don't know. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Delap just because he's proven in the Prem.
Yeah, no, I hear it as well. I hear it. I mean, that for me is the most likely, but I mean, I'm hoping that we just got a bit of a surprise up our sleeve and we do go for, we do somehow manage to get an Osimhen or a Gyökeres, but I think we could be in a very similar situation. But I still think regardless, we need 2 centre forwards this summer because if you sign just one, let's say you have Jackson and Osimhen, right? You still need one more, I feel, because if one gets injured, you're back down to one striker again. I think you need 3 to compete across 4 fronts. So I would like to see 2 strikers come in this summer. I don't think Guiu's done enough really for me to be that third choice centre forward. So if you had a Jackson, a Delap, and an Osimhen, for example, because in theory you could sign Osimhen and Delap for under 100 million quid for both of them with the release clauses. I think we need 3 centre forwards in the squad. I mean, what do you think?
Ideally, yeah. Like another winger, 2 strikers, but then even then, like, what are we saying? We sell Jackson?
No, we'll have 3. You could have Jackson, Delap, and Osimhen, for example, and then you've got all bases covered.
Hey, I ain't saying no.
And you could potentially save money on a wide player because you could try Jackson as a left wing option as well, maybe, which might be better.
I hear it because when it comes to the wing options, if it ain't Lookman or Liao, I don't care. So I hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather.
Like, Gittins is too raw. Fuck Garnacho, shit guy. Who else are we linked with?
Well, Nico Williams always gets mentioned, but
wages,
we're not paying.
Never going to happen. So yeah, get me Liao or get me Lookman, or I just don't care about the left-hand side either. Just
I'd rather keep Tyreek George or just put Jackson there. Like, I'd rather save that money and put it towards more important areas of the squad. But mate, just briefly on centre backs before we look ahead to the Everton game. Your thoughts on Huijsen, because it looks like, well, I mean, a lot of noise coming out yesterday. We're leading the race. I mean, it's not done yet, but we want to get him in before the Club World Cup. He'd be open to coming. I'd love to know what we're telling these guys to get him to sign.
What we're telling him is that he's going to start week in and week out at Chelsea.
And then when he gets there, he's not. But, I mean...
Hey, what it says to me, though, Levi Colwill, especially if we don't get UCL...
Do you think do you not just think it'll just be competition? It'll just be him and Huijsen for that left centre back role, and you have Fofana and someone else. But because for me, I like Huijsen.
I hear that, but we haven't heard about any club looking around Badiashile for a while now.
No, there's nothing about Badiashile.
But we're hearing stuff about Colwill and Bayern Munich.
But the thing is, though, like what I'd say on the Colwill thing, right, is we had opportunities to sell Colwill when his stocks were higher than they probably are now. I'll probably say his stocks are probably a little bit lower than maybe a season or 2 ago when there was interest from Liverpool, when Brighton obviously tried to sign him on a permanent after that loan. I mean, I don't think his stock's quite as high as maybe it was a season or so ago.
But I also don't think they've dropped as much.
No,
I wouldn't even argue you're wrong, but like I don't think it's dropped to a crazy level where we still couldn't like sell him for a good amount of cash, and even then it would still be pure profit.
Yeah.
Plus, I heard he wants to go if we don't get UCL football. So again,
I still think he'll probably end up staying, but again, it depends if any offers come in and for how much. But I think he would probably end up staying. But for me, right, I've got no issue with Huijsen. I think he's quality. I think he's got loads of potential, right? My issue would be is though, surely we just have the same problems next season in terms of there's no leadership or experience at the back.
This is my problem. I think in terms of like youth centre backs that could make it, he's probably clear of all of ours. But if you bring him in, you're going to have to bring in somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to get that leadership at the back too. If you're going to tell me you're bringing in Højlund and you're bringing in another centre back with him, someone more experienced, run it. Run it immediately.
Would you take
because I
Guehi as
couldn't
that
give a damn about none of these centre backs.
Would you take Mark Guehi as that experienced centre back with him?
Maybe, you know.
I don't think it would be that bad, considering they have 1 year left on his contract. We got that sell-on clause as well, which would give us a bit more of a discount as well.
It's experience, but it's not the experience I want. Like I want title-winning experience. He's like more just prem-proven experience, and I wouldn't even knock it because he is a great leader. And I do think like there's aspects of his leadership I think you bring into this team and it improves. It's not perfect.
It's not perfect. Thing is, though, like there's not really any of those Thiago Silva type signings really out there on the market.
I need Rudiger back, just slapping half of this squad when they fuck up.
Yeah. What about your guy Christensen? He might
run him back. That would be even more affordable. Although here's the thing, I don't think he's played like 5 games this season. He's got the injury bug too.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit, but no, yeah, it needs to be 2 players at centre back. One, if it's just Højlund, the same issues are going to be there next season. And so we need a leader for the back line. And my concern would be if the decision makers are looking at that squad and thinking a 20-year-old centre back with 1 season of Premier League experience solves our issues, because it doesn't. And that would be the major concern. It's nothing to do with the player's quality, and it's nothing to do with that. It's, as we've said, it's more to do with, well, how does that give us a leader in defence? How does that give us experience? How does that give us know-how? It just doesn't. So yeah, I mean, we need to get a couple more.
The thing is, there's no data for that, which is what these idiots will never understand.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And that's why data is so flawed in terms of it being your go-to in terms of signing a player. There should just be a supplementary. It should enforce why you're going for someone. But as you say, mate, leadership, experience and stuff, there's no numbers for that. That's not quantifiable. You either got that or you don't. And so this is the problem. There's not really any lead. I mean, basically Tosin's the leader of the back line, but he's like a squad player. So
Tosin, Chalobah, James and Sanchez. What a shit group of leaders. Poor Reece. Big up Reece. He's the only player in there that I would genuinely call. Well, Tosin will be viewed as a leader, but it's like
I look at Reece, right? I think he's a leader, but I wouldn't look at him as you wouldn't look at him when you're down in the trenches. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he's one of them that leads on the pitch with his actions and that.
Yeah, he's like a silent leader. And
then when it comes to Tosin and Sanchez, look, my whole thing is like, you can't be a leader and shit.
Yeah.
You can't be, because how are you gonna have a guy shouting at you and it's like, bro, you're not even doing your job well. Bro, focus on yourself.
Yeah, the fact that Sanchez is leading the back line is mental. Like, is in terms of like he's trying to plug the leadership gap. And I mean, Tosin, I hear it to a degree, and he's been not as bad, but yeah,
let Robert Sanchez be shouting at me for a mistake that I've made on the pitch. Just slap that I'll put across his head will be heard in Fulham.
Before we move on to Everton, one player who I think has developed massively as a leader this season is Enzo, and he's actually the only one really for me who looks like, well, at least outwardly anyway, expresses that passion's got that leadership, shows that
he's broke Caicedo into there too,
but in a different way though, I'd say. To Enzo,
less vocal. Even then, I feel like the vocality only hits like you're more Spanish-speaking Chelsea.
Yeah, but potentially.
I don't know if he can speak English yet.
I think he's got a little bit. He must have some, but you know what these players are like. They pretend they can't speak English because they hate doing interviews.
Yeah, you remember Tevez? He said like, because the Falklands War, I ain't learning English or nothing
Yeah,
like that.
and Aguero pretended he couldn't speak no English, and then as soon as he left, he just spoke English fine.
He knows English.
Yeah, Aguero speaks fluent English, bro.
Oh, what a bastard!
Yeah, but yeah, we're going to move on to Everton. We're going to bring in Stephen, the Everton fan. We're going to have a little look ahead to the game, mate. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. This is going to be an interesting game. I mean, Lewis, just quickly, Everton under Deitch probably would have been a bit of an easier game, but under Moyes, they have significantly improved, and they're picking up quite a lot of points. I mean, I think the City defeat. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. Is that your only loss since Moyes has come in?
We lost under his first game. He lost again. Yeah, he lost against Aston Villa. But he'd had the team for like 2-3 days at that point. He lost the Anfield derby away by one goal to nil, and then that was only his third loss if you take out the Bournemouth game in the cup. But I think he's managed.
There too.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we'll probably get into it as well. Tarkowski going off didn't help us. I think we probably would have got something out of the game if it wasn't for Tarkowski going off. But no, I mean, I think he's managed 15, and I think he's lost 4. There's a few draws in there, but we're actually winning as well. I think we've won about 6 or 7 since he came in as well. So yeah, we're playing really well at the minute. But there's just, to be honest, now that we've not really got anything to play for. The best we can finish really is 13th, maybe 12th, 11th if we're lucky. We're being able to experiment a little bit more with some of the players we've got and seeing who's going to be in the side for next season.
Well, I'm pretty sure you've picked up more points than we have since Moyes come in. I'm almost certain you have. When did he come in?
January, really early January. I think his first game was the 9th of January.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on about almost 4 months now since he came in.
Yeah, that's not then. Yeah, I mean, I'm almost certain Everton have got more points than us in that period. Which is kind of mad. But I mean, Lewis, how are you feeling about this game, bro? Because it's a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. We obviously got that last gasp winner against Fulham, but it only really means anything if we follow it up with a win with the 3 points against Everton. You feeling confident? What are your thoughts on it?
God knows. I really don't know how to make this one. Because Everton will still be tough to break down, even though like part of them will be on the beach. And our biggest problem is still burying chances. We just finally learnt how to do it for 5 minutes against Fulham. We didn't really get a lot to go off in that last game. We just kept our head above water, and it's going to be about doing the same thing on Saturday. Everton are going to make it difficult for us. We should still make chances in spite of that. Will we take them? I don't know. So it's another test of character for Chelsea. It really is. And we can't underestimate Everton, but this should still be one of the games that we should be winning if we're serious about getting into the top 5. So if we can do it, hopefully someone drops points around us. Like I believe we're more of the favourites than Everton, but it's just because I think Everton would be fine with leaving with a point. I don't even think they're necessarily going to come here and say, right, our aim is to try and find a way to win this one. It's just more like, let's just try and not lose. They don't need to lose. They can just take a points, whatever. Everton fans will be happy with that. You already know with us, our season will be over. I don't know.
It's hard though.
I'm just going to say win because I believe we can pull it out of somewhere, but it's one of those where you just don't ask me how.
I mean,
our forward line's so out of depth, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it's hard though, isn't it? Because you sort of think, well, I know we scored twice against Fulham, but there's not really that many goals in the team. We're still not scoring that much, and Everton will make it difficult for us. I mean, Stephen, how do you think Moyes will approach this? Do you think he'll come sit low block, or do you think he'll come and have a bit of a go? Because the pressure's kind of off. You don't need a result. It's not like you need the points to stay up. Do you think you're going to come and have more of a go than you would have done if you were struggling?
I honestly think that we're not as defensive as people on the outside make out. I think that's the one thing I've noticed since he's come in, is that they're so much more on the front foot from the start of the games. And it was the same against City last week, that we were on top in some periods of the game. Some periods of the game, when City really start to control the ball, we had to drop back a bit and defend. But I think on Saturday we're going to be. I think we're just going to have a go at it and try and get a win, really, because, like you said there, the pressure's off a bit, and I'd rather look at us having a go and losing than sitting back and looking for a draw and probably getting beat 1-0, because Chelsea have got those little pockets of class that we haven't got at the moment. So I'd say I don't expect us to go into it with sitting low. I expect us to go into it.
Package. One sec.
Yeah, all good, bro.
I expect us to go into it trying to win the game, because we've got enough players that can score. It's just it depends on how high we sit, but we need to, I think, to beat this Chelsea team, because, like I said, there's little pockets of creativity. I think Enzo's been brilliant. We all know the trouble that Palmer can cause. Neto, of course, scored last week, didn't he? So he's starting to show a bit more. And if we let Chelsea just have the ball and defend them, we're going to lose. So I expect us, to be honest, Charlie, to have a good go at this one and try and win it, because there's nothing to lose.
Yeah, no, mate, I hear you. It's all like people always say you want to play teams at the end of the season in the run-in with nothing to play for, and I get that. But there's also a danger that comes with that as well, because there's no pressure. You can go out and play with freedom. And that can also be quite dangerous as well. But, I mean, the reverse fixture just before Christmas, I mean, we were up at Goodison. A lot's changed since then. You got a new manager. Our form's taken a nosedive. But that was a 0-0. That was our chance to temporarily go top of the league, but we missed it. It's the same group of players. I don't think you added much in January. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there was one or two that come in, but largely the same squad. What's Moyes done so differently to get something out of these players, which Dyche simply couldn't do?
It purely, I think, has just come from starting 5-10 yards further up than they were. It felt constantly like you were trying to play your way out of a hole under Sean Dyche. It feels like now, we're playing outside of the hole and trying to actually kick on and do something with the games that we've got. He's definitely playing a lot more to players' strengths. There's a lot more creativity. One of the big changes was he's brought Jake O'Brien in at right back instead of the messing about with Ashley Young, who can't play 90 minutes in the Premier League anymore. And that's been a big thing that's made us a lot harder to beat. I mean, a lot of the left wingers we've come up against, I haven't seen them, because Jake O'Brien is such a good defender and he's so physical that it's really made a difference. And like I said, players just sort of having something to play for and believing that they can beat any team. And that's what I've noticed. A lot of players have just started to play, were playing within themselves, and now starting to begin to play, properly, and there's competition for places, and just a genuine belief, to be honest, Charlie, that that we can give it, we can give anything a good go, and we can start to play better.
What's happened to Beto? Because you spent a reasonable chunk of money on him by Everton standards, in terms of 35 million, as much as that potentially, if I'm right. I mean, under Dyche, under Dyche, it wasn't really happening. But under Moyes, he looks like a totally different player, and he has scored a few goals recently. Obviously, he's keeping Calvert-Lewin out the side, isn't he?
Well, Calvert-Lewin's injured. He came in to fill the void of Calvert-Lewin being injured. Calvert-Lewin actually scored in his first game under Dyche against Tottenham. We were 3-0 up at half-time against Tottenham. Played them off the park at Goodison in Moyes' real first match back. And then he got a terrible injury away at Brighton. And that's probably his last game for Everton now, because I expect him to move on at the end of the season. But he's brought Beto in, and I think he's probably asked Beto, what's your best role and how do you work as a striker? And then he's played around that. With Sean Dyche, I think he saw, a big 6'4" striker, and he saw him come in and he went, okay, let's just put him on in the box and just hit the ball as hard as we can at his head and see if it goes in. But that's not the kind of player he is at all. He's physical, but realistically, his physicality isn't his best asset. His best asset is his movement off the ball and his pace as well. So he's been able to play that way. And if you look at his goals that he has scored since Moyes has come in, you'll notice that they're all pretty similar types of goals. Reminds me a little bit of Lukaku in his first season at Everton, when he came on loan from Chelsea. You know, he's got that ability to turn a defender and shoot one touch and score. So he's definitely not someone you can just lump the ball up to and he's going to hold it up and or head the ball into the net. He's not really that kind of player, but that's what Moyes has done really. And someone's in the comments there as well has mentioned Broja. It's a bit of a funny one when he was on under Deitch.
You signed him injured, didn't you? Because he joined you on loan from us, but he was injured when you signed him, wasn't he? And he didn't play until December or something, or maybe a touch before.
Well, yeah, he played around that time. We did sign him injured, but I think it was a case of Chelsea would pay like half of his wages, or Chelsea would pay his wages until he was fit. He does look a bit off it. Before he got injured, he looked a bit more promising, but he got a really bad injury against Peterborough in the FA Cup in January, and we thought we wouldn't see him again, and he did. He did work really hard to get back in the side. So fair play to him. But against City, he started against City, and he just didn't look like he was ever gonna even get a touch of the ball. I can't remember him even making a run with it. And I think Moyes has been giving him a go to see if it's worth taking him on another loan next season, but at the minute he's not really showing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, Broja has been, he's basically, I don't think he's even scored for you, has he? He hasn't even scored a goal, no. So, I mean, I'd be shocked if Everton took up the buy option on him, which I think's 30 million quid. I don't see that happening at all. I mean, Lewis, when you look at it from a Chelsea perspective, right? We saw Tyreek George make an impact from the bench. He's made an impact over the last few games. Would you have any issues if George started down the middle over Jackson this weekend?
I wouldn't even be totally against it. But I also don't know if we should be putting the pressure on him at his age too. Maybe it would be better as another option off the bench in the second half. Maybe. But if we were to do it, I'd understand as well, because Jackson's form's been straight hideous this year. And it's just got worse and worse in terms of his all-round game. Now the runs off the ball aren't good enough. Now the first touch ain't good enough. Now the decision-making's too long. He should be dropped, but we didn't bring in a striker.
We haven't got anyone to replace him with.
So because of recruitment, it's just Jackson or die. And we're dying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I wouldn't be against George starting, but I almost feel that role of him coming off the bench last 15, 20 minutes, something different down the middle, it actually suits him better than starting him, putting that pressure on him to deliver from the off. Like, we shouldn't be putting pressure on a 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old kid who's not really a striker to start down the middle in the run-in in must-win games to get us Champions League football. Like, we shouldn't be doing that, but I mean, we might have to. But look, I think that role definitely suits him better. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I'm not sure there'll be any surprises. I mean, do you think Reece James starts again, mate? I mean, he was pretty poor at Fulham. He was subbed at half-time.
We heard Lavia will get minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he starts or not. That's the real question.
If Lavia
I don't even
starts,
know if we necessarily need him to start.
If Lavia starts, would you pay Caicedo right back?
Yeah, because I don't like. I think Everton will be like, it'll be more backs to the wall for them and then hit us on the break. So I wouldn't be against this. Just I also don't think Lavia needs to be risked in this game too. So yeah, throw James back in. I don't think it'll be as end to end as like the Fulham match was looking like.
No, I hear it. I mean, Stephen, from a Chelsea, from your point of view, what players are you kind of concerned about that could cause Everton some issues? Look, we do have quality. I mean, Lewis has spoken about it, but obviously the attack's not in the greatest of form. Palmer's not scored since January. Jackson hasn't scored this year. Neto's coming into a little bit of form. Obviously, still players that can cause damage on their day. Is there anyone in particular you're concerned about?
Well, it's a tough one because, like I said this to Alex, who was on our channel yesterday, that it seems to just be a completely different Chelsea team that to what it was at the start of the season. I expected you guys to steamroll it and at least be in the run for the league title around now. I like Enzo a lot, I think, and I mentioned this to Alex yesterday that when him and Caicedo came in to Chelsea for a lot of money, money that unspeakable money that we hadn't seen really before, there was a lot of expectation on them to be perfect immediately and to be, immediately be the best midfielders in the league, and we all thought, there's going to be nothing wrong with these two players, when really I think it wasn't their fault, the money that was paid for them, and now a couple of years on, you're noticing that they're playing with a lot more freedom, and they seem to be a lot more comfortable playing in a Chelsea starting 11 than now that the question marks about the fees have sort of disappeared. Enzo's a player that I really like because I saw the goal he scored against Tottenham was really good, and he just seems to be a real captain's player that is popping up with goals. Reminds me a bit of Lampard was, back in his prime at Chelsea as well. So there's players like that. Sancho's a bit of a weird one. I mean, it's a bit undecided over where his best position is or where his best club is even, but he got a really good goal against Ipswich. Neto's a player that's come into form, like you mentioned, and a player that can always make things happen. And Tyreek George as well seems to be a name on Chelsea fans' lips as well. So for me, like I mentioned, I think this game is going to be a clash of two very, very different sides. I think Everton is going to be a whole team effort to try, and there's going to be a lot more thought out. It's going to be a lot more organised from us, hopefully. But Chelsea have got those players that can make things happen in an instant that we don't have. So really, it's going to depend on how the game goes and who gets the first goal. I think if Chelsea get the first goal, we'll be lucky to get back into it. But if we get the first goal, I think we can really take the game to Chelsea if we play the way that we have done. At Nottingham Forest last week, we got a 1-0 win. So, and that was, really unexpected. We played a good game. We played our way, and then we stayed in the game and we waited for our opportunity, and it finally came in the 94th minute. So that was the difference, because under Sean Dyche, it would have been a 1-0 loss. We went away to Bournemouth when they were flying high. Exact same sort of circumstances, and they were the one who scored, and because we'd sort of given up and we'd taken a point. The game at the City ground was testament to how this team really isn't given up at the minute. So Chelsea are going to have to be on it for 90 minutes, or else, we do have moments that can happen.
I mean, Lewis, on the wide players for us, right? Neto's come into a little bit of form. Obviously, the goal he scored against Fulham was great. Only his fourth league goal of the season, though. Like, we need more from him. Obviously, the output numbers not as great as perhaps maybe we would have expected.
I heard it's like an improvement on all of his goals.
Yeah, it's an improvement. I mean, bro, he scored 6 goals in all comps, which is more goals than he scored ever at Wolves.
But this is the thing. We wanted output, and we signed someone that is a wing player and can only cross.
Yeah, and we got no striker for his crosses to get on the end of. So
recruitment plan. Hey, it's all Maresca's fault, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, no, mate, I hear it. But on the wingers, right, we obviously got 3, maybe 4.
No, that one directed at you. I know your stance.
The 3 or 4, well, maybe 4 if you include George. I mean, on Sancho, by the way, mate, I was convinced that actually, do you know what, I don't want this guy, send him back because his form from December until the last couple of weeks was atrocious. Over the last couple of weeks, he has now picked it up a little bit. He's got, obviously, I know he got a few assists in the Conference League. He scored the banger against Ipswich. He made a difference when he come on at half-time against Fulham. We're sort of seeing more of the Sancho that we saw when he first signed. But then you could argue, as his form picked up because he's playing because he wants to stay at the club and this is not an accurate representation of him, or is he genuinely worth keeping? And I sort of maybe swinging slightly more towards the side of, well, for 25 million quid, if he's going to be a third or fourth choice option on the wing as a squad player, you'd maybe struggle to get someone better for that price.
I'd rather keep him. I've never really bought into the idea of sending him back. I think it might be something we see if we don't get top 5 because it's an easy way to save 20 million. But I think he's a good chance creator. I think his problem is sometimes he slows down the game too much and he's too predictable in what he wants to try and do. But it's another one of those where when he's on it, he's a serious threat. So as long as you can pattern the wages, keep him. Keep him. I've got no problems with it. The quality's there. It's just getting him to maximize it and to make it consistent.
I mean, who would you start on Saturday, and then wide areas? Would you go Sancho, Neto, Madueke? I mean, what are your thoughts? What combination do you think we should be going with?
You need Noni. With the way Everton play, Neto, I think is just going to be forced in too many crossing actions, which is just pointless. Sancho, Noni. Yeah, Sancho, Noni. Yeah, I'll do that.
No, I wouldn't be against. I mean, Simon, is Ndai injured, or is he back now?
No, he's back now.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite good. I mean, would you say he's your most dangerous player?
Yeah, by far. There's a couple of dangerous players that we've got. I mean, Ndai is definitely the most dangerous one. Charlie Alcaraz as well there. You mentioned January. He was the only player that we brought in on loan. And he's been quite dangerous as well when he can pick up the ball and move with it. But I expect Decore to start in the number 10 again. On the right, it'll probably be Jack Harrison again, who's actually not been too bad since Moyes came in. He started to show a little bit more. To be honest, I think, though, from a Chelsea point of view, if Chelsea are going to play the best way, I think having two really wide wingers isn't the way, because our fullbacks have been really good at marking up wingers since Moyes came in. Jake O'Brien, like I said there before, every left winger he comes up against, he has a 10 out of 10 performance against. And a lot of the left wingers he plays against end up getting subbed off. So I think for Chelsea would be far more dangerous playing through the middle on Saturday, because the big glaring obvious problem for Everton is James Tarkowski's injured. So if Michael Keane's playing, you guys are going to have a field day.
Has he been poor recently, has he?
Keane, he doesn't play. That's the thing. Michael Keane doesn't play. He can't defend, and it's been said about him. He's been at the club for years, and every single manager who comes in takes a look at him and goes, "I don't like him. He's not very good." Drops him, and then it's a wicked thing that a new manager will come in and have a look at him. He come in against City, and we were playing really well until Tarkowski got injured, got brought off. Keane came on, and we went from having something like 0.2 XG for Man City to having like 2 or 3, and they ended up winning 2-0. Everything that he does just seems to unsettle the whole defensive line, and there's only so much O'Brien and Branthwaite can do to cover up for him. He slotted into a team that he hasn't played in, and he was poor. And at the start of the season when we were terrible as well, he was poor in those games. So it really is only shining light is that he's good in front of goal, Michael Keane. So I would personally, and I don't know if David Moyes will do this, but I'd start Nathan Patterson at right back and put Jake O'Brien in at centre back next to Jared Branthwaite, which is his true position. But having no Tarkowski, that's where Chelsea are going to get a bit of freedom, and that's why I think Chelsea will probably win if Michael Keane starts. It's the writing's on the wall.
I mean, Lewis, just before we round out, bro. I mean, Champions League. I mean, it's still possible somehow. What are you saying? Do you think we can do it? Because basically, we have to win this game. If we don't win this game, it's finished with what we've got coming up. I mean, how are you feeling now? I mean, I've maintained since January window closed and we made the squad worse that it's not going to happen. I'm not going to change my mind on that. But I mean, with how this season's gone, with everything that's happened, there's still a small part of me that feels somehow we might scrape into fifth. I mean, how are you?
One game at a time, man.
Yeah.
One game at a time. That's all we can do. I don't know if we'll get Champions League or not, but if we don't win this game, I don't think we will. No. If we win this game, cool. There could be teams around us that drop points. Who knows when Nottingham Forest play Brentford next Thursday? Who knows?
Yeah.
City, obviously, they just beat Villa.
Yeah, they got Wolves and Southampton next 2 games.
And Newcastle have Ipswich, so forget about that one. And that's it. So, yeah, we just got to do our job and keep our head above water for another week.
Yeah, it's kind of mad, isn't it? I mean, mate...
Maybe in a week or two, we can speak with a bit of chest about it. But for now, it's just keep winning your games.
Yeah, right now, it's not looking ideal. I mean, mate, would you take the scenario where we have to go to Forest on the last day to win, to get into the Champions League? Are you taking that?
Have they got third locked up?
Not necessarily. They have fell off a little bit. I think they're only 3 points.
I mean by that scenario, innit? Because that'll be the last day. If they have top 3 wrapped up?
Yeah,
cool. They'll play the kids. They'll have a party atmosphere. We can capitalize on that.
But if
they have something to play for,
what if it's winner take all? Us versus them. Winner gets Champions League.
Pray to God.
Yeah. Imagine Hudson-Odoi scores the winner and sends us to Europa League.
That was nearly the story last season.
Right, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. It would have been that would have been mad. But we're somehow still there, even though our form's been awful. But yeah, I just don't think we've got enough, because I think we're going to have to go to Forest or Newcastle and get a result. And I just can't see us doing that at either of them grounds. Newcastle, I think, is a write-off. Forest, there's more of a chance, but there's really only a chance.
I wouldn't write off Newcastle away. I wouldn't. Right,
mate, how many times have you been Newcastle away? A few. Have you ever seen us win at St James's?
Actually, yeah, Reece James. When was Reece James parking that? The Marcus Alonso won 18-19 as well. I've seen it a few times. But here's my thing. First off, shout out my mod, Danish Maldini. He's shown me Newcastle's last 5, 12, 30 kickoffs. They don't like it. They don't like the early kickoff.
What about
Second of all, they will have to win the game too.
Yeah.
So we have a direct game. And a direct game suits us. It means we can play our direct match. It means we can counter-attack, and it means we will make chances. And it again just comes down to will our bummy forwards finish them or not.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have a game we prefer. So, I'd go into it with a relative bit of confidence, plus a big pitch, all of that. They prefer away games to home games. There could be the opportunity for a statement performance there. I don't blame people for not being confident. The team's done nothing to build confidence this year, but I've seen teams like Fulham go there and win.
Yeah, it's possible. Brighton have gone there and won it. It's definitely possible. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, last thing, Stephen, what are you saying for score prediction? You fancy your boys to get anything from this game?
I do fancy us, but like I said, if the team sheet comes out on Saturday and Michael Keane starting at centre back, immediately I'm just going to go 2-3-0 to Chelsea. If it's like I said, and he puts O'Brien at centre back, I do fancy us. If we can ride out a bit of a wave from Chelsea, I think when Chelsea start to tire, and also the fans at the moment at Stamford Bridge, are getting a little bit hostile and a little bit, they don't quite know what they're doing. They're not convinced with Enzo Maresca, and like you mentioned there, Lewis, with the board and the recruitment as well. If we can capitalise on that, like people do when they come to Goodison, I know for a fact at Goodison a lot of people play on the crowd. So hopefully we stay in the game, play our way, stay focused, and if there's one opportunity, we need to take it because it'd be a big statement as well, because there's nothing really to play for. For us, it's a big statement if we go to Stamford Bridge and win, because I've never in my life seen us win at Stamford Bridge. I think it's the longest we've gone without winning at a stadium. So it'd be a big statement win if we can get it.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to go. I think we can get a narrow 2-1 win, but I think we can just about do it. We need to do it for the Champions League, but we'll wait and see what happens. We'll find out 12:30 on Saturday lunchtime. Guys, we're going to round that one out there. Stephen, thanks for coming on, bro. Let us know where your channel is and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, Everton newsfeed on Twitter with the Toffee Blues on YouTube. We had Alex from Chelsea Fan TV on the channel, and his video is probably going to go up either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure when, but go and check that one out. Me and Alex had a good chat about the game on Saturday, and also we did a lineup quiz as well from a former game at Stamford Bridge. So go and have a look.
Cool, perfect, guys. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the Toffee Blues on YouTube. Make sure you check out Lewis's channel. Subscribe to myself as well, guys. Catch you later on. There'll be a show tonight, I think 10 p.m. Not sure who's doing it, but there will be a show then. So come stay tuned in for that one. And as always, up the Chelsea. Catch you soon, guys.